Hey, listeners, welcome back to Real Talk for Coaches, the podcast where we explore the trends, techniques, and transformative power of coaching. I am your host, Dr. Dawn Reid, and joining me is my illustrious co-host, Coach Will. Hey, Will.
What's going on?
How you?
I be zai.
You be zai?
Yep.
I love it. And today, Coach, we are going to be exploring the elephant in the room, in every coaching room, being truly present with your client.
Mm-hmm.
This is such a common challenge, especially for new coaches, is just being in the moment, being present. And we're going to break down, what does that mean? What are some techniques and some tips that we can use to help us be more present, more grounded, more centered with whatever comes up in the coaching session. And I'm excited to talk about this because it's actually one of my favorite topics.
Very good. Very good. So, what's going on with you? How's things going in your world?
My world is good, actually. It is really good. What else is going? What's going on? What's some new stuff? I have a new cohort in my training class. So I have some wonderful people who are becoming master Read Ready coaches.
Okay.
Let's give it up for them. Yay. And I just signed on to coaches who are recertifying and they're getting their mentoring. So I'm excited for them.
Okay.
And this is probably going to sound weird. I know it is. However, I completed a training program for English, teaching English as a second language.
Very good.
Because, I love to travel. And, one of the things that I have on my bucket list is to become a digital nomad.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to translate some of the English material into other languages or teach coaching in other markets. And so I'm taking on that, and I just got that particular certification, so I'm excited about that too. Yeah, I know. I'm always doing something.
Is there a particular language you're focusing on?
Great question. There's 2 languages, well, 3 I'm interested in, but I'm starting to learn Korean. I'm learning Korean. I also have Swahili on my on my bucket. Yes, Swahili.
You go straight for the deep end, huh?
I know. It's something wrong with me. Okay. No, that's a bad coaching. I'm going to change that. I'm going to reframe. Coaches, I'm going to reframe what I just said. There's nothing wrong with me. I am excited and adventurous. And so this is one of those opportunities. So those are the 2 languages that I am looking at. And of course, Spanish is going to be on my list, but I did take 4 years of high school Spanish. I did have 4 years of high school Spanish. Did very well in it too. But I know a little bit, a poquito. But yeah, those are my bucket list languages.
I took Spanish once, maybe twice. We're not going to talk about that. That was a long time ago in a land far, far away.
Your other life?
Yeah.
I get it. Awesome. So let's dive into the power of presence, breaking free from the coach's mental chatter. So what do you think about that? Because you took the Master Coach Training Program, and I know that you had the opportunity to do a lot of practice coaching too. Mm-hmm. So what was that like for you, that mental chatter?
I think to me, the biggest part of the mental chatter was getting in the mindset of realizing whatever the issue is not your issue. You're helping this person trying to get through an issue. And it's so easy to try to fix it. Yeah. And say, why don't you just do this?
Do this. Mm-hmm.
Or I could give you these steps to fix it, but that's not what, a coach is supposed to do. A coach is supposed to coach you through it rather than fixing it for you. Mm-hmm. I think that was the biggest part for me, because I'm analytical. Sometimes you sit there and listen, you're like, well, if you just would have went right instead of left, or it's very difficult to get out of the mindset of fixing it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of the biggest things for me.
Mm-hmm. And you are not alone. And I am always transparent, and that was one of the things that even sometimes I still get caught in my own head of like, okay, you could really do this, and the other, especially if it's a topic that I know I've gone through as an individual. And so it is easy for that. Another thing that I see a lot of coaches do is they get into, am I asking powerful questions? Am I showing up as a good coach? You're focused on performance versus really staying present to what the client is feeling, thinking, doing, believing. The other part that I also see is, we feel like if we fixed it, then they had a powerful coaching session. It's funny because sometimes someone I was mentoring, their one of the things that they kept sharing was I want to give my client benefit. I want to give my client impact. I'm like, well, who determines that? So in the mentoring session, I put the coach hat on and said, yeah, so who determines what benefit and impact looks like? And she looked at me, she was like, the client. I'm like, yeah, so why are you defining it? How does your client define the impact that you're providing, the benefit that you're providing? And that whole definition of powerful questioning. And this is something that I always struggled with. And even when I'm teaching this, I go, I don't want you to see it as a powerful question because we think the way we ask it make it powerful, but it's really, is it powerful to how the client interpreted the question? In other words, did it make the client think? If the question made the client think, then it was a powerful question.
Yeah.
Right? Something that's simple, well, where's that coming from? If your client looks like a deer in headlights after you ask that, well, then that was a powerful question, right? And so that present is just being there. And there's so much. The reason why you hear me stuttering, there's a lot going on in my head right now. I would just want you to know that because it's like this is one of my favorite topics because I'm also thinking about being present mentally, right? Being present physically, being present with not knowing, being present with how you feel. Like all of this is part of you being in that moment with that client. And some coaches struggle when a client is having emotions, especially big emotions.
You don't know how to handle it.
You don't know how to handle it.
Right.
And I'm like, you don't have to handle it. You just have to be there. Just, what are you feeling? What's coming up for you? What do those tears mean?
And that could be the thin line between, at that particular point, of therapy and coaching, because the therapy is something totally different. But people can feel like, well, I don't want to get into that realm of being a therapist, or feeling like I have to therapize. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. I have to therapize this person rather than coaching that person. To make it really simple, to me, sometimes when I think about coaching, is you're basically you're teaching someone how to handle a problem, how to deal with a problem, because you're coaching them through it rather than if you just fix it for them, that's not helping them. I mean, it's helping them in the short term. It's a little analogy I was using in my head, sort of, but
well, share your analogy.
Because when you're coaching someone and you're coaching them through something, you're giving them what they need to get through whatever it is they need to get through. Yeah, I could come and say, okay, you know what, Dawn, you need to do. I'm going to go ahead and do this for you, and if I go ahead and fix this for you, or go ahead and give you the solution, the next time that happens, that doesn't mean you're going to know what to do. That just means, oh, well, I could go to Will. I can go to Coach Will and he'll fix it for me next time and the time after that. Me coaching you through it is like, oh, okay, you know what? Oh, okay, I remember when I did this, I used these steps, or I was able to do this because I was coached through this versus somebody just doing it for me per se.
And
Go ahead.
I think you make a good point, and you're right. You're 1,000% right that our job is not to fix it. And I'm trying to connect this back to the true presence in coaching, understanding presence in coaching.
I know I went off on a tangent.
You did.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
It's okay.
It's all right. We listen and we don't judge because you made a good point. It's still connected. And we're going to put an and to what you were saying. Part of trying to fix it is not being present. And I think that's where that relationship is that if you're trying to fix it, then you're in your own head and you think that you know more than your client. Instead of you listening, instead of you being with the client and whatever is happening and coming up, and even being in a place of not knowing, being present with, I don't know, I don't need to know, I don't have the answer, I don't need to have the answer. My client has the answer. Wherever the answer is, it lies with them. And as the coach, our job is to listen actively for where that answer is and what that answer looks like with our client. And I'm going to go back a little bit because I think it's important, the relevancy of the ICF's defining coaching presence, to be fully conscious and present with the client, employing a style that is open, flexible, grounded, and confident. So being present is also being confident, being okay with not knowing, being okay with staying in your lane. One of my favorite sayings is not my dishes, not my sink, or not my monkey, not my circus. I like both of those. So, and that is to remind me that I don't need to fix it. Right. To your point. And that also takes the pressure off of me and keep me out of my head. This is not about my performance as a coach. It really is about the client. And I think that being present means that no matter what's coming up, you are there mentally and physically. You're not in your head thinking, did that question sound right? Did I do what's right? Physically in your body. Like, for instance, a client may share something and I will feel it physically in my own body. And I use that because it is something that's present, right? So just last week. So the client was struggling with having a conversation around taking maternity leave, right? And I'm like, okay. And I'm a mom, or, I have kids, adult children now. But I remember having to have that conversation of, oh yeah, I got to take maternity leave. Right. And so I felt it in my own being because I remember what that felt like to have that conversation. And so I'm like, oh, you know what? When you said that, I felt that fear of what could it mean? How would they think about me? What are you feeling? So I was present. I shared my experience. And then I asked them, what are you feeling? You engaged them. Exactly. Engaged them totally. Yep. Exactly. So I think it's important for us to really understand that it's okay no matter what the client brings up. And I kind of want to touch on what you said too about the therapy piece. A lot of times when people express emotions, we assume that is connected to therapy. It doesn't have to be. We are human beings. We cry, we get angry. What differentiates the therapy piece or not crossing that line is, are you trying to treat them? Are you trying to diagnose them? As long as you're not saying, oh, you have anxiety. Oh, that's depression, right? That sounds a little bipolar. Like, as long as you're not telling somebody that they have a mental or clinical condition, you're not crossing the line. As long as you're not trying to prescribe a treatment, you're not crossing the line. You can assess to go, ooh, this person mentioned these things. It sounds like it could be. And that's where you say, I'm not a therapist and I want to stay in the coaching realm. Have you thought about talking to a therapist? Right? So now you're giving that referral and that, would you like to explore that as an option, right? But again, the presence piece is, but that also takes, oh my God, my brain. That also that also accounts for you have to be present in order to have that conversation with your client.
Yeah.
If you're thinking in your head, oh my God, they're crying, what do I do? You're not present.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that might be something that is a learned experience as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, early on, you may run into that. A client is crying, like, what, uh-oh. Like, did I mess up?
I just snorted, sorry. Yes.
Crying is snorting. Did I mess up? Like, or,
exactly. Yes.
Whereas
yes.
a year goes by and you're like, okay, not that you get cold hearted,
Right.
but you learn how to adjust. Okay. So like you said, when the client, so you learn the difference in questions to ask versus panicking and like, oh,
what do I do with this?
Yeah, I don't know what to do with this. I'm saying, uh-oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
but doesn't that go back into the professional development piece? So if you guys didn't listen to that segment, go follow it, go listen to it. This is why professional development is also important, because you learn to distinguish how do you be present and work through big emotions.
Right.
That leads me into the segment. Let's talk a little bit about tools and tips. So these are things that I coach and I teach in my coaching classes and in my mentoring classes. There's two models that I use. One is PARA, and I love this. Not only do I use this with my coaches and teach it, I also provide this to my clients. So you guys get this for free. So listen up. So PARA, P-A-R-A. And what this does, it helps with emotional regulation. So let's say the client is experiencing a large emotion, they're starting to cry. First of all, you hold space for it. Let them. Be silent, because that's part of being present. Be silent. Let them process a little bit and ask them, what do they need from you right now? And you can give them options, because I don't believe in cognitive overload either. Do you want me to hold space just to give you a moment to collect yourself? Do you want to process these feelings? Do you want to talk about what you're feeling? Like, you give them those. And then what I do is I give them the PARA method. P stands for pause. Let's pause. Let's breathe. Let's just stop in our tracks and kind of determine where we are. Let's get grounded, right? Then it's A, assess. What's going on? Where is the emotion coming from? What triggered it? What were the thoughts? What were the feelings? Where do you feel it in your body? What was the experience? So you can start to kind of assess what's going on to create the emotion. Then you reflect. What is the one thing out of the assessment that you've discovered that could connect to what's the thing behind the thing? What's the deeper thing that you feel like is the trigger that we can focus on after you've assessed? And then once you figure out, oh, this is what triggered that. This is what's creating this feeling and experience. Now you can ask yourself, this is the last A, do you want to act or not act? Because not acting is an action, right?
It's a choice.
It's a choice. And you can go, okay, now that I know what the thing is, I've defined it, I get it, I know what's triggering me, what do I want to do about it? You may decide, I don't want to do a damn thing about it. Or you might decide, oh, I'm going to do A, B, C, and D about it. But what it does is it helps center you and get you to explore what's coming up in the moment. And I love this model. And it really is good for emotional regulation. And then my mind model, M is for meditate. And see, it could be reflection too, but meditate goes with the M. So I'm just saying. But it really is about you taking a moment. Again, it's a pause. And thinking through, reflecting on what's coming up for you. What are your thoughts? And what's the behavior connected to the thoughts? And then you have the I, investigate. Investigate and explore the behavior associated with the thought, the behaviors associated with the goal, whatever's coming up for you. Then you have N. So it's either notice or notate. So when I say notice, what do you feel in your body? Are you feeling in your throat? Are you noticing when you think of A, your body responds in this particular way, right? You can even write it down. When I say notate, write it down. I'm big on writing stuff down. And then D, decide. Very similar to para, with the A is act. Decide what you want to do. Now that you've gone through the whole pattern, you go, okay, what do I want to do about this? I'm going to make a decision to do something or not do something. Make a decision or not make a decision. And so those are some of the ways that I help my clients kind of regulate. And then we as coaches, when we're able to help our clients regulate, it kind of also keeps us out of our own head too. So little tricky trick that I kind of use and I help with.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm. So some quick tips on helping coaches, right? One, it's not your job to fix it. So the first thing that you have to remember is that's not your role. Not your dishes, not your sink. Stop trying to wash the dishes.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. And it's very common. It's very easy to fall into that.
Mm-hmm. It really is, because you think you know how to fix it. But it's not really about you. And one of the things I always say to people is just because I can do it, because this is, just saying this grinds my gears. Grinds my gears. If I can do it, you could do it. That is the most disturbing saying, because you and I have different mindsets,
yes, different
experiences. We're wired differently. Just because I can do it does not mean that you're in the same place as me, right? Mm-hmm. And so I that just drives me nuts. So no, we have to recognize that just because we approach something and fix it in our personal lives does not mean it's going to work for our clients. Our clients have different motivations than we do. They have a different approach than we do. They have different fears than we do. Whereas, I'm adventurous. I'm big on, and I'm also at a different age, right? I'm at that age where it's like, I just don't care anymore. I don't care. And somebody in their 20s care a lot. Mm-hmm. So I can't expect that client can do the same thing that I can do because they're in a different place than I am. Yeah. So I say all that to say, as coaches, we have to just let whatever our clients decide, that's what they're comfortable doing. Let them do it. Our job is to help them optimize their full potential, not tell them what to do. So just keeping those little things in mind. You have any thoughts? I know I said a lot of talking. I'm sorry.
No, I think because it's a lot of stuff said. Like it's easy to fall into the whole trap of fixing it rather than coaching it. So that's really all I really have about that part. You know what I mean? I guess we can go into like the next one or...
Oh, no. Well, real quick, I'll give some strategies. No, go ahead. I forgot to give some strategies. So real quick strategies, do some pre-session meditation. And that could just be breathing. That's just before, in between sessions, just breathe and remind yourself, not your monkey, not your circus. Using silence. We ignore silence in the coaching session. And I always tell coaches, silence is your best friend, just like it is for the client. You don't have to have a quick, immediate thing. Matter of fact, I always tell my clients, you know what? I'm thinking about a question I want to ask because you said something really profound. Let me think about it for a second. Use silence to your best interest so that you can make sure you're not in your head. Right. Body language, like just even looking off, like me, I'm big on, I look up, I do a lot of, use that to your advantage. Also, grounding exercises for yourself as well as your client. Get their permissions. Hey, would you like to do a grounding exercise to make sure we're present, to make sure we're here with each other? So those are some quick strategies as we close out. And I swear these sessions go too, this podcast goes too quickly. Yeah. It goes too quickly. So, but I thank everyone. As always, I hope you got something that you can use from this. Yes.
I'm sure they did.
I hope so. I enjoyed it.
You're a professional at what you do.
You sure? I have so much shenanigans. But anyway, thank you all so much for joining. We appreciate you. Follow us on social media. Visit my website, Dr. Dawn Reid, or reidready.com. And thank you as always for listening.